Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered Truth. Today we have Kayan with us, and as you know, all my guests are very special. So thank you, Kayan, for joining. So many of
Thank you.
you might know Kayan, but if you don't know Kayan have a YouTube channel. I'll put it up so you guys make sure that you head over and subscribe if you want to fasten our business a little bit more. But we'll talk about the high level on this channel, and she'll walk us through her process.
Welcome to Unfiltered Truth, Journey of Canadian Immigrants. Join us every other week where we talk to a new person about their adventure in Canada. Are you interested in coming? Then this is for you.
So welcome, Kayan.
Thank you for having me. Hi.
You're welcome. So I guess introduce yourself, tell the people who you are, and give us a little bit of a background into Kayan.
Okay, so hi guys. I'm Kayon. I am an electrical engineer. I studied in Jamaica for 4 years before coming to Canada, and so far I've been here for 1 year and 4 months, somewhere thereabout. I'm not really counting,
So you came in
but
2021.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Cool.
2021, December 2021.
Okay.
um, yeah, that's it. Like, I'm literally an electrical engineer, part-time YouTuber these days. Haven't vlogged in a while, and and I was a student, so
Yeah. All right.
and
So
I am a part-time student currently still, so that's for another day.
okay. So let's kind of break it down. So you are in Canada right now. You came as an international student as well in COVID. So just to backtrack a little bit, you came in COVID to start studying, or you came halfway through because of COVID?
So when I came, I think COVID was kind of over, really. Even though it was kind of still COVID, but everything kind of went back to normal. Most
Hmm.
persons were back in the office, so it was
Yeah.
um more normal, let's say. So it's kind
Okay.
of post pandemic ish, but we're still in a pandemic. So are we still in COVID?
I don't even know.
I don't,
Even
but
know.
I came when it was, yeah. I came when it was normal.
I feel like we're not
So
anymore, but
yeah.
yeah. Okay. So where did you land? Like, I guess a lot of people want to know where in Canada do you land?
Okay, so when I came to Canada, I came to British Columbia. I landed in Ontario at first, but then took another plane
Mhm.
to BC. But yeah, BC was my destination. I came here, and ever since I've been in British Columbia. So
Okay. So you went to a school in BC.
yes, I went to a school in BC. I went to University Canada West. I did my master's there, master's in business administration, and I accelerated it. It was a 2 year program, but I completed it in 1 year. Yeah, and that's what I
Oh.
did at first. Yeah.
So you did summers, or you were to bypass the courses?
I accelerated. I did every semester. Like, for example, like per semester,
Oh.
we're supposed to do 3 courses, right? When I just came, I did the 3 courses because it was mandatory. But then after that, I did like 5 courses. Then I did like 4. And then the final, I wanted to do another 5, and then they're like, no, that's not allowed. So then I
Mhm.
did 4, which was maximum. And then because I wanted to finish in 3 semesters, but it ended up went into 4 semesters instead of the 3 because I couldn't do the other 5. I had to do
Mhm.
4, and the final semester I had like the last 3. So yeah,
Okay.
that's what I did. Okay.
I guess a question that people would have in mind now, since you accelerated and you did it in a shorter time, how was that for you balancing? Did you work while you were going to school? kind of thing? How was that?
So when I was going to school, it's funny, when I was doing my 5 courses, I was working part-time, and I was working at Home Depot. So it was night job, and it was like
Oh,
on shift period type of thing. So I would go in, I think, on Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays, like 3 days per week, because it's
okay.
part-time. But then
Mm-hmm.
we weren't allowed to work 40 hours. We were just allowed to work 20 hours.
20. Yeah,
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 so
yeah.
I was doing that. If you ask me how I studied, doing 5 courses, I have classes literally every Tuesday, every Thursday, back to back. Like when I was doing 5 courses, it was so hard because I would start school like at 8 a.m. and I do not finish
Mm.
until like probably like 9 in the night. So right throughout,
Wow.
like I had 1 hour break. Yeah, it was back to back. It was hard, but with determination, and I just had an end goal. I had a plan, and I was so determined that I need to finish within a year, because when I came here I had a plan. And doing the MBA was not my first choice. I only did it because, hey, it's in line with my degree, and a part of doing a program in Canada. The government of Canada says it must be something that is, it can help you in your career. So I didn't
Mhm.
choose engineering masters because those are expensive. Those are really expensive, and
Tell me about.
so I chose business. Yeah, I chose business MBA, which was cheaper for me at the time. So I did that. But what I really want to do now is what I am actually going back to school part time now to do, because back then I couldn't afford it. But I didn't let that stop me from coming to Canada and do what I could afford at the time, which
Right.
was the MBA. Yeah, I didn't want to do that entire 2 years. I accelerated it because it was my stepping stone to get in here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point. And I always tell people you have to know your plan and your goals so that you can plan accordingly. All right. So thanks for that, Kayan. I'm gonna go to another question. I know I'm sure a lot of people want to know what were you doing back home and why you kind of decided to take up yourself and come to Canada, and what was that process like for you, that preparation process?
Okay. So, um, back home, I was an electrical engineer working at the only utility company in Jamaica. I like to say, like everybody
You
know
were make-
them. Huh?
So you were making some good money then.
It was good. For a lot of people would say it's good because after tax I was making like 350,000 Jamaican,
That's
and
a lot
that's
of money.
huh?
Yeah, that's a lot of
Yeah,
money in
it's
Jamaica.
good. Yes. Let's not downgrade it. It is a lot of money, right? It is a lot of money,
Right.
and a lot of people would love to have had that opportunity. Maybe if they had, they wouldn't even be thinking about leaving Jamaica, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things that really pushed me into leaving a situation like that, because I was making good money. I had a brand new CRV car that I recently purchased, right? My husband was driving a nice Honda car also.
Wow.
We built a house. I had everything, right? The you right
Mm-hmm.
about. I was also in the process of looking at investment property at the time. Like I said, that job that I had, it set me up
Mm-hmm.
for a great future, or a good future in Jamaica. It did. I won't lie.
Right.
Even though I say like 350, like, hey, is it a lot of money really? It is a lot of money to do a lot of things, like to take you out of poverty. But at the same time, I had bigger goals. It was just me, I had bigger
Yeah.
goals. And I thought I could not achieve those goals in Jamaica, because one of the restrictions with Jamaica is you can't work 2 jobs. It's really
Yeah.
difficult to work 2 jobs
Right.
in Jamaica. It's something that is frowned upon, right? And as
Mm-hmm.
engineers, you can't work 2 engineering jobs either. That's unethical, right? It is very
Yeah.
unethical.
Yeah.
So for me, I knew that okay, I need to get another career in another field to work 2 jobs, because I honestly I am that person who believes that while you are young, in your 20s, up to some parts of your 30s, use those years to grind as much as you can.
I
Build
agree.
that foundation.
100%. Yeah.
Yes. And for me, I thought I was leaving a lot of potential and
Sleep
a lot
after. Like my professor, yeah, like I was saying, my professor at UTech used to say, you can sleep after work now.
to work now. Exactly. And for me, while it was good money, I thought I was leaving a lot on the table by just sitting in
Mm.
Jamaica and just being comfortable because it was a good job. The work was good. I was learning. I was learning so much until COVID came, and then we were working from home,
Mm.
and I didn't get that interaction anymore. And then, like, I was learning so much in office, and then everything just went like this when I went home to work remotely. So I started doing repetitive stuff because I was working remotely, and I realized I hated that, right?
Mhm.
And because of that, I started thinking, oh, I can change my life. Like, I need more. I cannot do this. I cannot just be comfortable and complacent because, hey, your salary is good, and your salary is what they give you to be lazy, to forget about your dreams. And
Mm.
during COVID, I started watching this girl on YouTube. Her name is Taja Ferguson, right? I can't pronounce her last name, but it's kind of French. But Taja, I tell you, that girl, she inspired me so much. I always be in her comments like, oh my God, girl, keep doing what you're doing. And that's why I say, you doing YouTube,
Mm.
keep doing it. You don't know who you're influencing. She's a
True.
dental hygienist. Yeah, and she just do vlogs. And then the type of life I saw her living, how she was grinding, I'm like, why am I not grinding? I know I should be. That's what I always want to grind. I always want to keep going. That's me
Mm.
naturally. And then I said, you know what? I need to leave. I cannot just sit here and be comfortable. Because the truth is, when I started looking into what I would get when I retire my pension, I was like, that is not going to cut it. And hence why because my coworkers always guided me so well. Like, they were like, hey, get an investment property, you're young. But then I looked into that, and I'm like, the housing market in Jamaica, it's not really increasing. Because I started researching, and I'm realizing the only thing make the value of these houses going up is because the exchange of the US, the currency, that's really what's
It's going.
driving the market. People don't really see that, right?
Mhm.
And I did a whole lot of planning, a whole lot of looking, a whole lot of researching, and I realized, okay, you need to get your butt up and go where the money is.
Do
Go
something.
where you can do 2 jobs. Even if you probably don't start the business, like, even if you don't find the business that you want to do to make extra money, you can work. You can do 2 jobs. Nothing is wrong
Mhm.
with that. As long as you make your money work for you while you're young. And that's why I decided to leave. And I had to sell that to my husband because my husband don't believe in working 2 jobs. He doesn't believe in working hard. He doesn't, because he was so comfortable, because he was also at this company too. And he was so happy. So both of us are making good money.
Mhm.
It was a hard sell. And I had to
Yeah.
sell it to him. Say, hey, this is what you can make in Canada if you're doing 1 job as an engineer, right? Which, when we looked into it at that time, would be double what we were making in Jamaica. And
Right.
when I spoke that to him, and I say, hey, if you can get the opportunity and get that job, you can still keep your 1 job, right? And I sold it to him. We came here, and it worked out. Like, it wasn't easy in the beginning, but
Mhm.
it worked. That's why I left. I wanted more. I wanted that grind. I won't sit up here and lie and tell people, oh, Jamaica was so hard. Oh, I wasn't able to. What are some of the things? Like, I think people leave because, oh, the crime too. Oh, that's another thing. But that didn't affect me so much, because what people don't realize, there are 2 different Jamaicas. If you live in uptown, it tend not to bother you a bit. You go. It's 2 different Jamaica, because I don't go downtown to the market. No, I go uptown. I go to Constant Spring, and I go where people are where you see the celebrities, where you see Tammy, it's 2 different Jamaica. So that's what The crime didn't bother me, but it's sad though when you hear it. Though it's sad, and I need to do more. But it wasn't. That wasn't the reason why I left, because there are two different Jamaica. I really left because my earning potential, I could earn more while young, being abroad, than sitting down and just being comfortable in Jamaica. And to earn more in Jamaica, at the time when I started looking into businesses, I'd have to be doing things that I didn't want to do. So you'd have to drop your standards, because then you have to start thinking about how you're going to get our own customs and all of So that's why I left. They make it
Yeah.
hard to do business.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
That's true.
Was that
Like I
too much or
No, that was good. That was good. Like I never really thought about all of that, but that's really intuitive thinking. Like in my mind, um I went to UTech too. Like we were a little bit
yeah.
years apart, but I went to UTech and I did chemical engineering. For me at the time, I left about a year after graduating, and I was
Mm-hmm.
at Damalco, like similarly okay money. But
Yeah.
for me, as a chemical engineer, I didn't want to work in doing the same thing every day, or I wanted a little bigger for my life in terms of the impact that I make in this world. And so that was it for me. Um, I absolutely loved the company that I worked with. I loved the people there. It was great. It was a great learning opportunity. But like I said, for me personally, I I just didn't see where making bauxite was impacting the world in the way that I want. Um, Probably sound some type of way, and if guys, if you see this, don't feel not some type of way. I'm not bashing nothing. I personally wanted to do like pharmaceutical stuff like that, which I work in vaccine right now. But separate enough from that. That's kind of why. But I guess at the time when I graduated, I wasn't looking at the financial climate as much as I do now, like investing and stuff like no. I feel like my mind wasn't there. And it could partially be that I was in my small little comfortable box back home. But when I came here, it's full grind. Like I don't like I'll sleep, but it's not like on my main agenda. Like I grind and too much. Like I annoy myself sometimes. But yeah, I can resonate with your point. That's really intuitive. Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
But so let's start now about landing in BC. You have your goals, you know what you wanted to do. And I heard you mention that you had a plan. And of course, based on all the, information you just said a while ago, you must have been doing your research. But tell us about that plan that you had coming. Like you don't have to tell us the details about your plans, but you said that you had your plan, doing accelerated. What was the plan for you, and how did that, did it work out the way that you thought it would?
Okay, so my plan when I came before I came to BC, I was looking into three provinces. When I said I researched, like I really researched. I looked at the minimum wage, I looked at the job climate in each province, and I looked at where I aligned. And I really wanted to go to like Nova Scotia and New Brunswick because of the lower cost of living. That was my main reason for wanting to go there. But then when I look at the job market, it wasn't there for me. It really wasn't there. And one of the ways, anyone who is watching this, one of the ways you can decide if a province is the right place for you, go on Indeed or go on LinkedIn. There's a filter there where you can search, like, so I would search for electrical engineer, and I would keep on checking how many times in the last 24 hours or a day a new position for an electrical engineer came up in that province. And I was monitoring things like
Mm-hmm.
New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Ontario, and BC. And it showed me that of all of these provinces, and I had Alberta in it too, for all of these provinces, BC was the only one that within like 24 hours, you realize that you have more opportunities for persons in tech, in electrical engineering. Ontario was the next one. And it was really good too, but BC had more. They had a little edge. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, that was how I ended up choosing BC. Because the truth is, yes, I want the lower cost of living, but having a lower cost of living and no money coming in makes no sense, right?
Mhm.
So the first plan, pick the best province that's best for you. I did that through research, BC. Then after that, I knew that my goal was to get permanent residence. I already knew I was going to come here as a student, but then I started looking into how I can get permanent residence before coming to Canada. Because let's be honest, who wants to come to Canada and pay a lot of money in school fees when you can just
Right.
do first
Yes.
entry? Yes, but then I did all the English tests, when we did all of that and entered the pool, we realized our points were low. We had like 443 for points,
Yeah,
right?
you know
And that's
what?
with
You guys had applied 2019, it would have been enough.
yes. And that's, yeah, because at the time too, I was also looking at the previous scores, what they drew, and where we fell. Because, engineering kind of thing, you're going to do your check and balance, right? And
Right.
then I was, yeah, this is not going to work. We need to pick the next thing, best thing. Hence why the student pathway. So we came here, we picked BC because hey, it had more opportunities in electrical engineering, and I was like, okay, my husband could get a job, which never that's fun, right? But yeah, that's what we did first. And when I came here, my
Yeah.
plans was to accelerate my program, right? Get a job as
Mhm.
soon as possible and try to get PR. But then that was the backup plan. So a lot of persons they come here and that's their main plan to get PR when they are finished with school. My
Mhm.
main goal was to come here as a student. While being here as a student, my husband get a job that can help us to get more points to become a permanent resident while being a student. Because remember, you could be
Right.
a permanent resident from your home country, just that we didn't have enough points. So we use
Enough
being
points. Yeah.
uh, so we use being here as the opportunity to get that job in the knock that could give us more points to enter PNP. And that's another thing too why BC was good for us. BC's PNP goes like this. Once you have a job offer that's within a knock, you can apply for BC PNP. So
Mm-hmm.
that was the plan to get PR before I finished school because to tell you the truth, I never researched on how to get a postgraduate work permit because I was like, God, please don't let me have to get a postgraduate work permit. I literally prayed and begged God, please, I don't want to wait that long because
Mm-hmm.
my next career path that I previously told you about off camera, you have to be a permanent resident to start that program in BC.
Right.
Not
Right.
in BC, you have to be a permanent resident to do that type of program. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I'm going to get permanent residence before. I didn't even plan on finishing the MBA, right? I
Oh,
wanted to, yeah, but then I was like, okay, let's
you
accelerate
started.
because
Yeah.
yeah, I started. So I said, let me just accelerate it, get it out the way. You never know how it might help me further on in life. So I did it. But yeah, we did it. We worked hard. We 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 made it work, and to God be the glory. We got our permanent residence before I was able to finish my MBA program, and everything kind of worked out.
So
But
I guess you kind of run through a little bit, and I was listening, but I guess your husband, it kind of ended up working out for him where he was able to land a job. But coming in, you know, I kind of want us to backtrack a little bit because I know people would want to know about that part. Because everybody's journey is a little bit different in terms of what was it like for you to get the part-time job and for him to get the full-time job, and how was that process like? If you can backtrack to December 2021 when you landed in BC. Of course, we'll talk about cost of living and those kind of things, but in general, how was the market for you? Did it play out with landing the initial jobs and stuff like that?
so when I just came, right, let's be honest, I came in December, I think December 24th. to be exact. Like I was traveling like for 2 days, and I thought I'd get a job immediately to start because my school was starting like January 20th. So I couldn't work until the first day of school or when you start school based on the immigration law. And I was hoping that I would get something and tell them, oh, I'll start in 2 weeks' time.
Right.
But that didn't work out. What happened was eventually like I got something in January, right? It
Mm-hmm.
it it took a little time, which was like maybe a month. I got something in January. But what was the hardest thing, and I say this to people, was you looking at it, you're saying 1 month is not that bad, right? But you have to understand that within that 1 month, I had no job. I had no
Exchange
money
rate.
coming in. Yeah, I had no money coming in. I have this new rent to pay of the time I think it was $1,300. That's a lot of money in Jamaican currency, which I never paid that much money for rent in my life. And I had no money coming in. Yes, you told the government that hey, I'm coming with 1 year worth of money, but
Right.
do we really have 1 year worth of money coming? A lot of people don't. Well, I don't know. Some people do. But when I came, right, that 1 year worth of money for me was money that I showed in stocks and bonds. I never intend on selling off my stocks to literally use the money. I intend that I'm going to get a job and I'm still going to have my money in the bank. Sit down. Nah, nah, nah. I ha- I had to start selling some stocks. And that's when you start getting a bit depressed, a bit sad because you're like, hey, they said jobs and opportunities are here. And then if you went on work and travel, work and travel environment, you have jobs that you
Oh
basically,
yeah.
yeah. So I thought I was coming to that.
That's a good point because it wasn't the case for me, but I'm sure it got better. So tell us,
Yeah.
how we turned around.
Yeah, so it turned around when I got my first opportunity, which was at a gas station, and it was just 1 day per week. So even though I could work 20 hours, I thought I would be getting 20 hours, but no, they even lessened it to a part time. I was only getting like probably 7 or 8 hours. It was 1 day per week, and it was on a Sunday. And I was like, God, this cannot work. I need to go to church. So of all the days, they're like, it's only on a Sunday that they want people. So I would go that 1 day. But then you know what? I kept looking for jobs. I kept applying. And then I eventually
Mm-hmm.
got another job, which started like in February. But here's the thing. Say I got the other job, right? And it was at Home Depot and they were willing to give me my 20 hours. The problem was, if you know BC, I was living like in Surrey and the job was like in like North Vancouver. That's like 2 hours on train and buses to get to that job. 2 hours. And you have to remember that same time out here I was doing 5 courses, accelerating my program. It was not easy, but I wanted that money because I got bills to pay here and I got bills in Jamaica to pay. Right? So I I stick it out because at the time I'm still paying my parents' bills. Me moving to a new country, I didn't want to stop doing that for them. So I was still doing all of that and I had to make things work. I traveled and then it was an overnight. It was a shift job, so I would go in like at night. Like I leave my house literally from like 6:30 7 p.m. for my 9 o'clock shift, and then when work ends at like 6 or 7 in the morning, like the buses they don't start running like at 6 a.m. So I'd have to stay at work 1 hour off the clock to wait until the buses start run to take the bus or to take the ferry for another 2 hours to reach home. It's not easy, but I'll tell anybody if you're willing to do it because I'm living testimony here today to say, hey, eventually after a while, I had to stop doing that job. I had to stop because
Yeah.
it's not feasible. 2 hours back and forth, right? It wasn't feasible. But thanks be to God. God gave my husband that good opportunity, that engineering job. And when he got that job, I was able to stop working. So I stopped because it was hard going back and forth. And
Right.
after stopping, yeah, he was the only one working, and I focused on school.
On
Then
studying.
yeah, and then I decided that okay, I want to start working again because I'm all about the grind. But I want that just because. So I started looking other jobs, and then I ended up with a cleaning job at one point. I really loved that job. It paid good. It paid like $25 an hour, and it was really good. It was flexible. The only thing is,
Mhm.
it pays good, but it's not money where you can count on. This week they have a shift, next week, oh, they have nothing. So it was just
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's the other downfall. But yeah, I kept doing that until in October the government said, "Hey, international students can work full time," and that was when I used my engineering degree and got a job. Like, yeah, I started applying and I did a lot of interviews and
Mm-hmm.
actually started working full time as an engineer in January while being a full time international student. At that time, I didn't get PR until like February. So
Oh,
do the math.
so
Yeah.
in BC, I know in Ontario, I don't know. So in Ontario, the professional engineering body, the PO, they actually
Mm.
you can work in an engineering capacity, but you can't say you're an engineer. Is that
Engineer. It's the same thing. Yeah. So you work um in the engineering doing the same work, but your title it says designer instead of engineer. It doesn't
yeah?
say you're until you get that PNG.
Yeah. So here and the specialist or consultant or whatever they come up with,
Yeah.
that's what they do. And then you can get your EIT here in like you go through the whole rigmarole of getting your stuff assessed, blah blah blah, and then they give you an engineering in training so that they would have your title as for me process engineering.
Yeah, but the difference with here, you can do that, but they when we called our professional body, they're like, you don't need to do that because of the years of experience we've had back home. They're just like just put in all the documents, all those license and all those experience and thing, and then they'll just give you that professional engineering at the end. They don't give you that EIT if you don't need to. If you want to,
Oh,
you can. Yeah,
so you
but they
don't
said
have
that
to do any exams there. You don't have to do any
we
pre-exam
have
for
to
the
do
PA.
ethics. We have to do an ethics exam.
Oh, that's it.
That's it. And it's only because we have the years of experience in Jamaica. Yeah.
You still have to do the confirmatory exams here because they wouldn't necessarily confirm your degree, the academic section of
Oh.
it.
And I was
Mhm.
thinking to probably come down to Ontario to get mine because they removed that
So they
one
remove
year.
years of experience, but you still have to do the exam, as far as I know for now, unless fingers crossed, they will take it off completely because they are changing a lot of things. So they have removed the EIT program. As you can see, they are also taking away the years of experience. I feel like they're going to take away the technical exams too. It's just a matter of time because they're changing the whole website and you get updates very often. So I
Okay.
hoping and praying by the end of the year they'll remove everything.
Okay, because right now I have to wait to get that 1 year experience, Canadian experience, to get that BC PNG. My husband is
Mm-hmm.
going now, but I'm like, I don't even know if I want the PNG.
Yeah.
It's not
Just
that
the
much.
exam.
It's just, yeah, but, and I'm going into nursing, so I'm not sure, but I'm just going to get it just because. Just because.
Yeah, exactly. You never know, right? Like you never know. But yeah, okay. That's good to hear. Cause you know what? Sometimes people will see people's story and be like, oh, them did have it easy, man. And they really don't
Never.
know the behind the scenes. And because everybody's journey is different and everybody really how it's not as easy as it's portrayed. Like how do I guess now that you've gone through the whole process and you see and Of course, determination played a big part, and reading and researching and knowing things played a big part. But how was it upon landing? Like, how was the perception upon landing versus now? How do you feel?
So honestly, I thought Canada, like before coming here, I thought I would be able to get jobs like the click of a finger. And that wasn't the case, right? And even after getting a job, like I thought I would find something that I love or that I liked and that I could keep even when I was an engineer to have as my side job to keep going, right? To get that extra money. And that was something that I soon quickly realized that's a myth. Canada is not America. People need to realize that Canada is Canada. Canada is not America. Canada is slower than America. And people here don't believe in working overtime. They believe in that strict 40 hours. If they can give you less, they'll give you less. Because they'd rather hire two people to do 20 hours than hire you to do 40 hours. Yeah, it's not America. So that was, I expected what I saw in America to be Canada, but that was not the case. After landing, I realized it's two different places.
Two
So that
different.
was it for was yeah, that was the wake up call. Like if you're coming here and you want a work life balance and just to make more money, then yay. But if you're coming here and you're someone who wants to grind and you want to see that money like that fast pace, you're gonna realize that it's not going to be there as you land. It's not going to just you have to work your way to get to that place. Because even becoming a security guard here, you need a certificate. I don't know if it's the same in Ontario, but in BC, even for serving at a restaurant, you need some serve it right. You need a certificate. So here, if you're coming here to grind, you're going to have to have a plan and work your way to get there because
Oh,
everything is a certificate.
yeah, everything is money, right? So the system, as you said, is different from America, where it's the hustle culture and you can get in. Here, Canada, they want you to have a certificate for even picking up garbage. They want you to have a certificate for everything. It's kind of annoying, but here with the laws and the taxes and everything, investing is not as easy as in the US. Um,
Yeah.
and that's why a lot of people are currently like leaving. Like even my advisor, like the money is not here anymore. It's think about different places, different countries, movements, doing different things to really stock up. That's also another thing. As a lot of Jamaicans, I don't know if it's true, but it could be true now based on what you said. Is there's two types of Jamaica, where there's people that know about investment and stuff like that, but then there's the other side that it's a 9 to 5. And I've realized that a lot of Jamaicans that I've seen are really, or even Caribbean, we're really a 9 to 5 type of group.
Yeah.
And we learn to work until we're 60. And we find pleasure in saying we work at a company for 30, 40, 50 years. And I I'm just like, okay,
Nope.
okay. Like, what does that mean? Like working somewhere for 40 years? I don't know about
Work,
that.
working somewhere for 40 years is lazy, people. You are lazy. Show me someone who say, "Oh, I work here for 40 years." You are lazy.
I don't
You
I
you don't have
yeah,
any grit. You don't have any guts. Because to sit
I
and to
don't
do the
know if I
same
can work.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because no, you can do it in your sleep. I don't even know if I can do it for 10. I don't even know. Like if I can do 10. So 40?
And exactly, I need to be growing. And if I'm in this position, like I noticed something here, even with my workplace, like my employer, like like they keep that door open to say, hey, because people always leaving. It's a thing here in North America where employers know people always leaving. right? So they keep that door open to ask you to say, if you want to switch roles to go in another department, the door is open. You are not stuck to this department. You're not stuck here. So they ask, like, they'll be like, what is your career plan? What do you want in this company? Or, you know, they do because they know people. We don't, I don't know if it's a millennial thing. I guess it's a millennial. We don't stay one place too long.
I
We
feel
want,
like,
we need
yeah,
to move.
I feel like that's the thing. And I feel like even my parents, like when I'm like, oh, back in the day, like when I would be at one place for a year or less, they would be like, what's wrong with you? Like, but now in my current job as a consultant, because we work on multiple different projects, I've been here for a while, like almost 2 years, because I'm not seeing the same thing every day. And it's different project, different problems. So it's better for me because I'm growing. I don't like to be lazy. I can't do the same thing over and over again. That's why I was never really an office kind of girl, big hand.
Exactly. Exactly. Like even like doing consult, like I work with a consultant company too, and they are working on so many different projects. If you want to switch projects, you can. It's so different. Like you're doing so many different stuff here.
Exactly. You keep moving. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But
And I love that.
yeah, me too. Me too. I like, and I think in Canada and in North America, they do value that. I think it's more problematic if you stay at one company. They're like,
What's wrong with you? Exactly. And I think people don't realize, yeah, people in Jamaica, they don't realize, or in the Caribbean, they don't realize that North America don't look at it as a good thing when you sit in one company for 5, 10 years doing the same thing. I
because
had
it
a
is.
lecture. Yeah, I had a lecture at UCW doing my MBA, and he told us never stay in a position more than 3 years. Like you need to be moving, find something career growth. You must be going up to a next level. You can't just sit the same place. It makes no
Mm-mm,
sense. Employers
mm-mm.
do not like to see that because it shows that you're not growing. You
Yeah,
have no grit. Yes, they love consistency, but that consistency must be that you have something else to show as a consistency. It can't be like the same job.
in the same
Yeah.
role. You have to be moving roles, moving something. And for me too, like, if we just think about it, I know back home, I don't really know where that culture was developed. But just in general, a food for thought for persons watching. If you stay at one place and you get so good at the job that whatever you used to do in the 8-hour shift that you have, you can now do it in 2 hours. What are you doing with your brain for the other 6 hours? Yeah, that's just like a food for thought. You guys can think about it. But I
Yeah.
don't know. I get bored easily. So that's probably just a me thing. So
Yeah.
um but let's talk about, I guess we can wrap up after this one and then another recommendation. We can wrap up with the recommendations. But talk to us about the cost of living in BC. Because that's like always the top of the chart for people like Vancouver is killing people with the cost of living. Let's talk about that.
But the truth is, if you want to come to BC, do not research Vancouver. BC is so big. Like I tell people this all the time. BC is big. Like Vancouver, just the Lower Mainland is just a little part. There are other places in BC too, and you'll get the same. It's the same laws that govern the province, so you
Right,
don't have to.
right.
But in terms of cost of living, I won't lie. Vancouver is expensive. When I just came here, I didn't live in Vancouver because I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford it. But I see people come here and they live in Vancouver. And I'm saying to someone right now that's watching this video, we say it all the time, plan. What are your end goals? Because if your end goals is just to say you're in Canada and post on the gram and say, oh, I'm in Canada, and you buy the latest and you live in the best life. If that's your end goal, then go ahead. live in Vancouver and pay the expensive rent for 2,500 for one studio where your bed and your kitchen is in one space. I don't know if that's living, but go ahead. But if you're here and you have dreams on making it better for your family, then I'm going to advise you come to BC, but don't go to Vancouver. Go to like Surrey. Go to places outside like Richmond. Go to places like Abbotsford, but you have to be driving to be all the way in Abbotsford. If you're not driving, then don't think about Abbotsford. But go to places on the outskirts because there are so many other places around Vancouver that's outside. We have a great train system, which is the Sky Train. You can live in Coquitlam, and within an hour, you're within Vancouver. Right, it's going to take a little bit more travel time, but at the same time, you are getting bigger spaces for more affordable costs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
more affordable being like maybe a 1,500, 1,300 for 2 bedrooms, right? 2 bedrooms, 1,500, 2 bedrooms, you can get that. And you don't have to go in a basement like I did. I'm cheap, right? But you can go in an apartment because basement is not for everyone. I won't lie. It can add to your stress, so you can become more depressed. But if you're someone who easily stressed out too, better to go to an apartment. Also, another thing for BC for persons to know, BC is always kind of gloomy. It has that gloom environment, like because it's always raining here. So if you are affected by the weather, I would tell you try to pick another province because if that's
What?
going to affect.
That's actually a good point because as international student and as immigrants, mental health is such a big thing that is not talked about enough, I believe. And the weather plays such a big role in it. And like for me, I know that the weather like I'm always working. I keep myself busy because otherwise the weather will drive me crazy. And I like to do plans so that,
Oh,
it keeps me a little more, I don't know, It gives my brain a little bit more because I feel like it can be depressing. And so that's a really solid point. And
yeah.
I always tell people where you go is really dependent on your circumstance. Not anybody that is on they're telling you to come anywhere. You have to know what career you're in because the careers are not dependent on provinces either. It's dependent on
Mhm.
city. And so, for example, like Ontario 52 that people like I'm not going to Ontario because Toronto is expensive. Bruh, that's one city. What are you saying? Ontario
Exactly.
have like million PNP jobs for the year. Like, are you actually listening to yourself or are you not looking? You're not planning. And so that's so important because I feel like people don't plan enough, people don't look enough. And your situation, you have to look in your situation. Mental health is a serious thing when you come on this immigration journey. And so my experience in Ontario might not be yours. Kayan's experience in BC might not be yours. But there's so much information that's true. But there's
Mm.
also information that, tell the half truth. Like they don't really tell the full truth. It's just a little bit of it. So really do your research when you're coming on this journey. But I'm glad that you brought up that point because mental health is so big.
It is so big. And for persons who are coming from the Caribbean, the reason why you don't see it as a thing or it doesn't affect you is because you have great sunshine all year round. It's not until you get here and you see this weather just always fluctuating and changing that you're like, so
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
aware of that. Be aware of that. But yeah, BC, like you said, like Toronto, you don't have to go in the downtown area. There are so many places around it. Look
Mhm.
into those places. And also, do not be afraid to use Google Maps. That's something that people don't use. Go on
And look,
Google Maps and look at the area, look at the street, look at how it looks to see if this is somewhere you'd like to live. Because honestly, I prefer city, but at the same time, I can't afford to live in the city, but I want to be able to be close that when I want to go to go, I can go because it will lift my spirit. Because
yeah.
I prefer city life, right?
I come from the country. I come
Mm-hmm.
in St. Catherine, and so I like the water and I like the greenery, and I'm not very city, so I don't live in the city. I was living in Toronto for the longest while, but we moved last year, and so the water is just behind my house. Like we have a canal.
It depends on what you like. She likes water. I like to see the water too, but
You
I
like to
like
see
to
the
see.
building.
But I wouldn't live in. There's a difference. I don't think I would live in the city because what you're getting for your money makes no sense. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I it depends what you like. So
So
go
you
where it is more
live in Surrey right
affordable.
now. So you
No,
live
I
in
don't live
Surrey.
in Surrey. I
Oh.
don't live, girl, I don't live in Surrey anymore. So a part of planning, right? When I planned, I planned that I don't want to live in nobody's rent house for long. It was, when you're from Jamaica and people say, can't sit down every day I pay people rent. But right? You can't sit every day paying someone else's mortgage.
Right.
So a part of our planning, right? So if you're retiring from Jamaica and you're in a good job and you're going to get that pension money, we try to put our money together to make use of it. So we tried to save it. When we started working, we tried to live below our means so much. Like we stayed in our basement. Every extra money we got, we put it to our savings. Like we had a plan. So then we were able to get that down payment to purchase a property. So then we bought a property and moved out of Surrey because Surrey, I don't know what Toronto is. You have that area where it's mostly for immigrants. Surrey is like the immigrant area. You come and you start, but you
Oh.
don't stay there. Bye. When you
Mm-hmm.
get when you so what people would normally do when they start making money, they leave Surrey and then they go to one of the
Mm-hmm.
other areas, start paying more rent. But I was
Oh.
like, I'm paying no more rent. I'm paying my mortgage. So we planned, we got a property. Like it came through so fast within a month, and we moved to our own place. So we moved a bit outside of the
Oh.
city further.
Oh.
Yeah, but then when we moved further out now, we had to buy a car.
Mm.
So it's another expense. We had to buy a car, and I bought a new car. We bought a new car, and yeah, we've been traveling ever since. But we don't go into office every day. We like going office 2 days per week.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good for us. Like yeah, so I no
Yeah.
longer live in Surrey.
Yeah. We also
And
kind of moved out. We moved out of the city, far out of the city. But I don't go in. I don't.
hmm,
No. Let's scratch that. My husband don't go in. I go in when I have to do site visits. So if I
oh,
have to go cut an equipment or something on the site, I go in. Or if I have FAT, we travel outside of country. But
hmm.
otherwise, if I don't, if I want to go into the office to interact, I go. Yeah, yeah. So similar to you, we also kind of same plan where we kind of just live way below our means until we got to the goal that we wanted get to. Yeah, so just to wrap up, I think this was a very good one. Like I enjoyed it. We spoke about a lot of things, and I'm sure somebody watching right now is motivated as well. So thank you for being so open, Kayan, and sharing and motivating others into thinking, I guess, similar to how we are thinking. But what recommendation or advice you have for somebody who want to start this journey? And one, they're afraid, but two, they have some great expectations more than what is actually here.
I would say one advice I would tell anybody, and I tell it to myself too. Is the plan. Plan, pray about it first. First you pray about it, then you plan. And it doesn't matter how you might be trying and things are not working out, how it is working, or you think it would be working out. Keep trying. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Canada is going to, it's either you sink or you swim. And
Oh
you're
yeah.
not going to sink, you're going to swim. You're going to have to learn to swim.
Oh
Because,
yeah.
yeah, people who sink or people who decide to go back home. And you don't have to go back home. You should never be thinking of going back where you started. Right? So if it's possible for me, if it's possible, if you see that one person, if you see someone who is doing what you want to be doing or living that life, If they don't have a YouTube where you can follow them and see more into it, then do your own research. So pray about it, planning means you're going to have to research, right? Research about it and trust God. Anything you're going through, take it to God in prayer.
Yeah.
Cry to Him, tell Him, and it will work out for you.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, you have to research. Please do not, even here in Canada, don't depend on YouTube. Do not depend on me. Do not depend on Sonny. Do not depend on anybody for your source of truth.
Mm-hmm.
Search it yourself. When you come to Canada, you have no one, and you will realize that very soon. You have nobody but yourself and God. That's why you have to pray about it and plan and do your own research. Know what you want, and then search and see what the facts are, what proof is out there, what numbers are saying, and see if actually what you want you can get here, because maybe you have an unrealistic expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you do the research, you're not going to know. And the research cannot be just watching a YouTube video and listening to Dick, Tom, and Harry. It has to be research where you use statistical data from credible sources like the government of Canada's website, things like that. If you're looking for jobs, use Indeed, use LinkedIn. I mentioned it earlier in the video. Look how often that job is being posted in that area. Look the type of job market that's there. Do thorough research. That's
Yeah.
the only way you're going to make it here.
Yeah. Yeah. That's solid point. Solid point. I appreciate it so much. And yeah, I do agree. Research is so important. Reading is very important. Take anything for granted. You can even sign your life away in these countries if you read. So I suggest that you read everything. And even when people give you an attitude, you ask the questions nonetheless, because they will give you attitude for no reason. But yeah. Thank you, Kayan. I think this was such a a good conversation, and I really hope that somebody gains something from it, even one thing. But once again, thank you, and thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you guys for watching. Don't
Yeah.
forget to subscribe.
Yes, remember Kayan's channel. I'll post it down there. Guys, go over and fasten our business, because I
Yeah,
know.
and me, I share my business. I don't have a problem sharing my business, because like I said in this video, it was a girl in America, because she shared her life. I
Mm,
was able to see that there's so much more out there, and because of that, I don't take it for granted. Sharing like how it can change someone's life. But
yeah.
it also, when you do share your business, it does kind of put you under attack to a lot of other things. And that's something I am in the process of learning how to cope and how to take on that side of the YouTube business. Hence why, to my fellow subscribers, where you haven't seen me in a while, I am learning how to come again. And because on YouTube, you gotta have a thick skin. And me, they kind of thin skinned. So my brother thick skin now to come back. But all the best to you guys on your journey. Do not give up. Do not take no for an answer, and keep trying, and always plan. Like plan.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Kayan.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.